On today's episode of the Shadow Path Diabolist podcast, we want to talk about something that is a critical part of the Shadow Path tradition, which we haven't talked about often, and that is the idea of the true will and the great work. True will is the idea that every man and every woman has a unique purpose that they were created for, a unique destiny, and the great work is the process of trying to discover one's true will and living by it. Of course, these are ideas from Thelema that have made their way into Shadow Path Diabolism, but we take a slightly different approach to these topics. First, when we talk about finding our true will, the way a Shadow Path Diabolist would approach it is to try and get rid of every belief that is contrary to their true will or deepest purpose. So they would spend time meditating on their life, trying to discern which beliefs are truly theirs, as opposed to those that have been primarily influenced by others. The idea is that throughout your life you will examine your beliefs until you are left with only those that you truly believe in and hold dear. And then once you've done this, you'll be able to determine what your true purpose and true will is, and so be able to live it. So it is similar to an alchemical process in which you are getting rid of the dross, the waste product, and you are left with only the purest substance to work with, which is the real you. The great work is living life itself, not separating from it. Within life, you have the processes of initiation and the trials of initiation. Life is the great initiation and the great ordeal, both at the same time. It is the great work. It must seem strange to hear us use terms like true will and the great work after you've heard us say so many negative things about ceremonial magic. The truth of the matter is that we don't have anything against the use of ceremonial magic in Shadow Path Diabolism. It's not the use of ceremonial magic that we are against. It's the use of ceremonial magic to put yourself above the demonic gods or to suggest that you could be equal to the demonic gods. You see, we don't believe in the idea of apotheosis or the idea that we can evolve into deities. In Shadow Path Diabolism, we encourage people to use ceremonial magic and techniques of mysticism as ways to connect with the gods. We encourage all members of the Shadow Path tradition to use whatever tools will help them to have a better relationship with the demons. But we're never trying to become equal to them. We think that would be a sign of disrespect and just wouldn't do it. Nor should one's magical practice ever overshadow one's religious devotions. Devil's Mark Ministries is first and foremost a religious organization, and we regard magic as simply a tool to help connect us with the gods. The ministry is not a magical order, so magic is not the point for us. If you take a close look at the people who buy into the idea of apotheosis, they tend to have issues. They tend to have very low self-esteem mixed with a high level of narcissism, meaning that regardless of how they act, they don't actually think very highly of themselves. And when you look at their lives, more often than not, you find that they are very shallow people with little respect for others, who have very little to contribute to the world. However, that doesn't mean there is anything wrong with trying to improve yourself. In fact, we believe that one of the major responsibilities of all Shadow Path Diabolists is to be the best person you can be, both for yourself and for the gods. So self-improvement is a critical part of Shadow Path Diabolism. However, trying to improve yourself is not the same thing as trying to put yourself on an equal footing with the gods. Trying to improve yourself is a way of showing gratitude to the gods for all they have given you, whereas trying to put yourself on an equal footing with the gods is disrespectful to them, in our opinion. It is also important to note that if the practitioners of Shadow Path Diabolism had any problem with magic or with mysticism, then our founder, Brother Nero, would never have been part of organizations like the Caliphate OTO or the Temple of Set. If he believed that practicing magic or mysticism was disrespectful to Satan, then he wouldn't have made them a part of Shadow Path Diabolism and wouldn't use those methods to commune with the gods. The techniques of mysticism and magic in and of themselves are not disrespectful. It is the intention behind the practices that makes them positive or negative. It is all about the intent behind the actions and not the actions themselves which matter. If you like this content and would like to see more of it, Please subscribe to this channel and like this video. Until next time,